agriculture, what comes to mind? Plants, farms, big green tractors? Well, I'm here to tell you it's not all about that. Animal husbandry.
Oxford Languages define animal husbandry as the science of breeding and caring for farm animals.
Farmers didn't only use animal husbandry for food. They also use it for transportation, clothes, and tools. With this in mind, I'm here to tell you how animals have progressively changed the agricultural industry. Cows! Cows represent agriculture. When we think of a farm, there's always a cow there. Cows originated from aurochs, which were domesticated in 10,000 BCE. As you would expect, they were used for their meat and milk. Which begs the question, how did we discover cows make milk? Really, think about it. Surprisingly, Egypt had one breed for meat and another for milk. Speaking of Egypt, they would use cows to separate grain by using a threshing floor. A threshing floor was a flat area of land that cows would walk on and would separate the grain individually. They would also use cows for their leather to help make clothing. Sheep! These guys made the textile industry. Sheep were used for their meat and milk, but primarily their fleece and wool. Fleece and wool were used for products like clothes, blankets, and shoes. They would eventually lead to companies like Nike, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton. Sheep were so influential that in Mesopotamia, there are over 200 words describing different kinds of sheep. Pigs! Pigs were used for their pork and sometimes sacrificed as offerings. The Chinese believed the pigs symbolized personal wealth and success. Pigs were also used heavily in grazing, along with sheep and cows. Grazing is when a shepherd would let the animals roam in a designated area, usually with grass that they could all eat. This is a revolutionary idea that is still used today. With grazing, it feeds the livestock through droughts or sometimes when food isn't plentiful. It saves the farmer money by not having to buy food and helps fertilize the soil. Oxen! Oxen have always been heavy lifters since their days in Mesopotamia. They were domesticated in 7,000 to 6,000 BCE, and ever since have been used to plow fields, pull wagons, and in a true show of strength, pull boats upstream. This power helped transport things extremely efficiently and till soil at record pace. Dogs! Dogs used to be beings of power, fear, and honor. Here they are now. We all know dogs were descendants of wolves, but not everyone knows the first domesticated dog. Introducing the Saluki. These guys were everywhere. Egypt had them, Mesopotamia had them, even China had them. They were mostly used for hunting, but they were also used for herding and transporting goods. Silkworms! You might be wondering, how does one domesticate a silkworm? That I can't tell you, but China was good at it. They figured out how to make silk out of the cocoons the larva spun and turn it into silk. This made a highly coveted silk industry with luxury clothes and even its own trade route with the genius name of the Silk Road. Lightning round! We got ducks. Nothing much really happened with them, but Egyptians ate them and sacrificed them. Donkeys! They were used for transportation and were the animal choice of kings and Sumer, aka Mesopotamia. Chickens! Known as the king's birds by the Sumerians, they were domesticated in 5,400 BCE. Chickens were used for their meat and eggs, which would become a staple in almost everyone's diet. From the wings and nuggets to the omelets and salads, chickens were used in almost everything. Strangely enough, the Romans relied on chickens in a peculiar way. They used them to predict the outcome of a battle. A designated priest called Polarius would throw out food to the chickens. If they ate it vigorously, it was a good sign of a great outcome of the battle. And if they refused to eat it, it was a bad omen, and they shouldn't even participate in the battle. As weird and superstitious as it is, it must have worked pretty well, because Rome became one of the biggest empires to exist. In conclusion, animals have really shaped the way agriculture has developed. Without animals, we wouldn't have clothes, dairy products, or even cars. We would still have to till soil by hand and farm near rivers, which ultimately would lead to a decrease in the population. Even though I only gave you a few examples, I hope you understand how important animals played a role in the development of agriculture and still are today.